Welcome back to the Deal Vault podcast. If you're a real estate investor looking to scale, secure funding, and learn from real deals, you're in the right place. I'm Greg, and together with Nate and Sarah, we'll sit down each week and break down market trends, funding strategies, real deal stories from our investors. Now, if you're ready to unlock knowledge, relationships, and capital you need, let's open the vault.
Kara, who can't be seen on camera right now, but can be heard, probably, is going to ask us some opener questions for how well do you know your friends?
Yes.
Okay.
Question one, how long has the other couple been married?
Okay, so this is my wife, Hannah, and I.
Yes, I'm.
And I'm answering for Zidane.
Was she on me?
I'm not. I didn't.
He was totally looking. You're totally looking at whatever.
Okay.
She states has to jury for you.
Okay, so how long has the other couple been married? I think the Downeys have been married for 15 years.
Close. 10 for you guys?
I know the answer.
The Herders just celebrated our third Christmas.
Yeah, I was going to put 12 and a half.
Yep.
But
We just said 16.
Okay.
Close.
Got it.
So far, we're really, really on a roll here. All right. Tell Hannah I was way off.
tell Hannah I basically had.
We also have an almost 13-year-old.
Oh, yeah. I guess I could have done that math.
Yeah.
That would have helped me out. He's the math guy, obviously. He knows.
Oh, it's like, so Avery is 12, so. Right, I was like 12 / like, what is it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Question 2, where were they born?
Where were they born?
They born.
I'm going to do...
We're going state to...
Well, I mean, I'm going to go city. I'm going to... All right. I'll go first. I'm going to guess that Greg was born in St. Louis.
True.
And Sarah's from New York City.
No, actually. St. Louis. Oh.
Go ahead. I was going to answer St. Louis for both of you, but I was like, I know you guys
Good try a wild
I want
story.
to see what you've got for.
St. Joe area. Again, I have family up there.
Okay.
Kansas City-ish, like.
Not a bad guess.
But
Sarah, what do you say?
I had just Columbia.
So Hannah and I were both born in Kansas City.
Okay.
I lived in Columbia for a long time.
okay. St. Joe to me is Kansas City area, so I went. For my rules.
It's 45 minutes north.
No.
Yeah,
Close enough.
ish.
Metro-ish area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suburb.
Well,
We're doing
awesome.
Closer than what? Well, what's Columbia? That's like an hour.
It's 2 hours. 2 hours to Kansas City.
I mean,
Well,
By proximity.
I'm not good.
Greg is up.
by the rule, I just make up.
Question 3, how many animals are in their home / on their property right now?
This is tricky because these guys getting rid of them. And I guess we'd have to know how many.
I don't even. When you're on answer.
Okay, we just offloaded 3. If that helps.
I'll give a guess.
Just who's closest? Who can get closest? Without going over.
I'll go 4 cows.
Yeah, I don't have to, like, actually, this is probably difficult.
You got 20 chickens,
Estimate.
3 ducks, and 2 dogs and a cat. So that's...
Yeah, you can do this math out loud. I'm not.
Okay. I'm going to guess 30.
So you got
All-
4 cows.
4 cows, 20 chickens, 3 ducks, 2 dogs, and a cat.
And a Cheeto.
We have a lizard,
We have a lizard.
and we also have 5 ducks now.
So we have 5 ducks, and the chickens were somewhere around 26, I think. Oh, we were -1 the other day when I went out there. So,
Give or take.
Without vacation.
yes.
So you're probably closer to 40, actually.
It said 7.
7, and we are currently holding at 6.
6. Well, since you have 3 cats left,
3 cats left.
I was accounting for 4. So,
Yep.
All right. Well, we're going to get there, guys. At some point, we're both going to.
A mama cat had 5 babies, and so we're just temporarily taking them all in. She's the neighborhood mama cat. So we're not really cat people.
Last question. How long does it take to drive to the other person's house from your house? Well, we can.
How often do you hang out?
Not
Good.
enough right now.
All right, you guys first.
18 minutes.
18 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is girl math.
Okay.
Teleportation.
All right. Well, it's actually 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
That way.
Well, for the new house that we're
Oh,
buying.
new house.
Oh, I did not know that. I bet it's longer than 5 minutes.
Not the one we got under contract on yesterday.
Say what?
Yes, it's the one with the pool and the.
You're gonna redo it then?
Mhm. And I went back yesterday and they cleaned it up and it's in infinitely better shape.
Oh, so they're doing a lot of work and they have to tune up a little bit.
Greenhouse,
Nice.
massive greenhouse, a massive shop, pool. So,
Good.
Neighbors. Yay.
Monsters, you win. You win. And by proxy, we win.
yes.
Yes, that's all.
What is the plan? Were you going to tell?
Yeah, this is all
Oh.
straight in.
Yay!
Woohoo! Super fun. That's awesome.
I think that turned out well though, so I think we can leave it at.
So, well, it's so fun because Dylan had looked at it and
He only made it
right out for them.
They made it like 10 feet in the door before they.
Maybe they went like the word like crap. We got to figure this out because I was super excited for him.
Yeah.
Because that location is so close to us, but it's like the best. And
I'd never ever thought that we were ever going to be able to like find something in that corridor
it's impossible.
where it's like, oh, I'm so close to town, but still West Raj.
I'm happy for you guys. That is way totally fun.
Yeah.
And rad. And Anna will have to turn into Miss like
Garden.
gardener, blah blah blah. No, or you, I guess.
We already had somebody ask if they can rent half of the greenhouse.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's
just,
just like, that's fine. I can't fill that whole thing.
You're right by the gardener. The lives like right by the. Yep. Yeah, no, then. Good dude. You should probably just do that because then you gotta figure it out. Man, this is cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're so close.
Welcome
Now.
down. Yeah.
Well, your wife she texted me at like 10:30 last night and it was like, I have news. And then I was like, what's going on? She's like, oh, I'm free tomorrow. And so I was like, oh, wow, you must be really busy. It was 10:30, like, news, I'm free. So hang out.
That's fun. Well, for the people that are listening that don't care about any of this, it's good to like the people that you work with. I can say that. And Murph Dog, playing football. Yeah, this is just perfect.
Murph, my 11-year-old, is gonna be jumping into Rogersville football and wrestling.
She can't wrestle. Think
So, and now we could just be like, hey, we're super swamped. Like, you guys take him tonight, we'll take him tomorrow. Which is what we do. Yeah,
love it.
Just at Everett take them all, you know?
Soon enough.
It's basically driving.
Soon enough. Speaking of which, I'll warn that I don't know if I'm covered in dust yet still, but we dropped Everett off this morning at the job site, our big 13-year-old. We talked about kids and investing with AJ an episode or two ago, which I think it was really fun. I mean, the viewership is probably in the millions at this point for that one. But we dropped Everett, our 13-year-old, off at one of our rental properties to refinish one of the decks. So he's got to strip it so we can paint it. And I rented a big floor drum sander with either 40 or 60 grit paper on it. And he like, it was like, I'm hopping on the bull type of thing. He's like, I can do this, but the big gulp, which is really funny. But he had popped off the dust collector on it and I turned it on just to like learn the mechanics of it. And it just blasted it or something. I'm actually showered at dust right now. So
Off those.
yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it makes it through.
I mean, it was fun. Like when I picked him up yesterday, he was like, I'm disgusting. And I was like, well, this is
Welcome.
it'll be your house someday. I mean, you may either be living in it when you're in college or after, first house type of thing, or, you're going to own this.
Treat it like your own, buddy.
Well,
I was like,
welcome to
well, and I kind of told him, I was like, he's always going to have a soft spot for this one because, if you sand anything, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have to pay somebody, like,
Well, I mean, this sucker took off probably a full 16th of an inch in about a half a second. Yeah, so he was
13, and he's 13 going on 40 with his podcasts and
his podcast.
he's been
That's awesome.
So
Yep. Cool. All right. What are we talking about today?
When you should start talking to a lender. Like when should I start trying to figure out the financing side of it? And so I think there's so many things that surround the just finding a deal. That it's tough to know, like how soon should I bother somebody with this if I'm like only casually looking?
I mean, I think this order of operations, like just globally in real estate investing or any project management, it's super important. Like, do I do the floors first? Do I do them last? Like, or do I do them right after I paint, right before you paint? Like, it even applies in there. We're just going to talk about the one section, but like, we'll cover the part that they're experts in, so that Joe listener or Susie listener, you're like, all right, I at least see where this piece comes in. But like, asking this question of the full process, just so you know, and have a system to so you just get lost in the sauce and like number one, totally forget something or get it totally out of order. Where it's like, ooh, if you would have talked to me before this, we would have done something totally different. But now we have to do X. And it can be really frustrating if you get into that situation because you're like, yeah, but I want that thing. Well, sometimes, sorry, you can't have that because you got these order of operations out of order. So we'll cover the finance side of this today. What we won't be able to cover is when do you talk to your flooring guy / your roofer?
Yeah.
But there's an order that you do it there. We'll just talk about the final. So that'll be really good.
I'm curious, like, I mean, obviously every day you're working with tons of borrowers. You've got a lot of repeat borrowers you need to work with. Like, how often are you seeing borrowers like come at the like what you would recommend, or like even repeats, or are you seeing the ones that do it that way be more successful with the financing process? Like, just kind of curious. Like,
Yeah, I think more often than not, folks, you know, come to us or come to me whenever they think they're ready to like make an offer on a property if they found the property. It's usually not like it doesn't work out for one reason or another. Sometimes because they learned something new about financing that they didn't know, and they're like, oh, I thought I was putting 5% down and it's 20% for a 30-year loan or something like that. Or just here's a rehab deal. This is what I'm purchasing it for. Here's how much rehab I think it needs, and here's my ARV. And we get to talk about, well, your after repair value is actually a limiting factor here if that's truly what it's going to be. Or they just don't get under contract. Somebody else gets that deal. So a lot of folks approach later in the process than I would recommend, where it's like, oh, I am totally going to invest, and this is the house, and this is now I figure out my financing stuff.
yeah,
So usually what that does is it's a false start essentially, where they think they're starting, but it's just an opportunity for us to get the conversation started about financing, and then say, okay, so if this one works out, here's what it could look like. But if not, keep sending deals my way, even if you're like just kind of lukewarm about it, because then you're going to learn more and more about the things that your financing can do for you. And then it'll help you hone in on the type of deal that you should actually be looking for.
right.
Like, hey, I've been looking at a lot of, $50,000 to $60,000 houses. They're in great condition. Some of them are even rented. And it's like, well, the minimum property value on a 30-year loan needs to be 75.
Yeah.
And so they go, oh, well, then I'll just up my, my where I'm looking. And the probably the most common thing that I run into is folks think, well, if I want to spend less money, then I need to actually look at cheaper houses. And so I'm gonna find a $20,000 house and do $50,000 worth of rehab, and then it's gonna be worth 125 or something when I'm done, which is probably those numbers shake out.
Yeah.
That's probably about right. But what it actually comes down to in that example scenario is, well, the rehab costs more than the purchase. So that's called a heavy rehab. On these low, property values, you're actually going to have a hard time finding a lender. So you're probably actually going to buy this thing all cash. And I'm just going to help you get your rehab budget. But other than that, you're actually putting down $20,000.
Right.
And so then I say, if spending less is actually what you're trying to do as far as like cash out of pocket up front, let's actually look at more expensive properties.
Yeah.
And
Which makes no sense if you don't talk to a loan guy
right.
that knows what they're doing.
But when you start drifting into a range of 100 to 150,000 and north of that, as far as total loan amount goes, these programs, even for new investors, open up where you only need to put down 10% of the purchase price.
Right.
So it's like, okay, that $20,000 property, based on the scenario, you're probably going to put down all but, maybe a couple $1,000s to buy that out of pocket. So let's just say it's $15,000 to $20,000 is your down payment on a $20,000 house. Whereas because lots of programs just don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
So they want to see a little bit more skin in the game, for lack of a better term. But, this $100,000 house actually qualifies for a 90% loan. So 10% down on 100 is only 10K. So you're buying a much nicer home
Much nicer.
and putting down less, but you don't realize that you're pulling these levers until you kind of start the conversation.
And as the percentages, like, let's say the percentages are the same, like I'm going to make X profit. Well, if you're making that same percentage of profit on a larger number, you're making more money there too.
100%. Yeah.
So, and the lay person, even like some reasonably experienced folks that have done quite a few transactions, if they haven't talked to somebody that's just willing to explain, here's how these work, may not put that together. I could even just think of somebody that's just like, I mean, I guess I'll transact, which we can help on that. Just, yep, here's what your loan looks like. But even just to say, like, what are you trying to accomplish here? Like, beyond just getting a property, like that's presumed, right? Because you want to buy property. But hey, I'm looking to buy as much real estate as I can, make my dollar stretch as far as it goes. Okay. And then you can just ask the question of like, would you be willing to consider these? Like, is that in the area that you invest, that type of property? Well, yeah, but I thought I couldn't afford it. Well, maybe not. Let me just show you and help you decide, but give you some information that you may not have had. Whereas I think a lot of folks will just say, here's the deal I brought. Can you do it? If you can, here's just the program, which is fine. We can do that too. But there's that step beyond of just being a good partner, like a trusted partner that we try to be to our customers. Show them a different way, a different approach to maybe something similar. And if it's not, say, cool, like I'm just now smarter. But it might actually open up a door that's like, oh, this is a way better way to do it. You actually, I mean, by percentage relative to the total cost of property in that scenario you gave, the lender's taking on more risk. You have less risk when you have that 10,000 down on the $100,000 property versus going full boat and you're having to buy the whole thing
Yeah.
on your own. Like now you have a partner in the lender too, which is not a bad thing. So
Which is, again, I mean, getting down to it, like, why do lenders have those minimums? Because they're thinking about, do we want to own this like asset? Like, we don't really want to own a $20,000 property that is potentially could be worth this dollar amount, but we're going to have to go in there and flip that. Like, when the way underwriting works over in this lane is it's very much like supported if you see it that way. And that's those kind of pre-flighting things too, is like if you're actually wanting to get cash flow from the property or return on your investment, like it's smarter. There's no obligation to just use our technology, our experience, and our understanding of the underwriting guidelines.
Yeah.
Like versus you spending your own time doing that. Like, yeah, I mean, seems like a no-brainer to me. Like
yeah,
I would
build a
do
team.
that with any project I'm looking at. Like the first thing I would think to do now is like, I'm going to look at like, what does financing look like? What do the returns look like on this? What does the monthly rent look like on this? Like with real data versus just what I emotionally feel and think it's going to be. I think there's still some of that happening from just,
Well, even if you think you got it though, like you bring it to the expert in that field and they may say that's not how it works anymore. I mean, potentially like it's ever changing,
Yeah.
right? Or, hey, you missed this one right here. And I just did deal in that area. Like we're national, but like there's some places we get to know pretty well.
For sure.
Like it's kind of surprising. Like I know this area. That's that zip code or these zip codes.
Birmingham is my jam.
Yeah, you got the like there's some areas you're like, I actually know this place pretty well from Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
And we can just say, hey, I think you're missing this one right here, even though they're local too.
Sure.
We can just, a good trusted partner in lending can highlight some of that stuff. So I think what I heard you say is like, bring the deals. You didn't get under contract. Okay. We kind of know that for the first few. It's like par for the course. You got to make offers. Some get declined.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily upset by that. We're happy to be engaging with somebody that's going out and doing business. We're going to do business together and it's going to be great.
My response is always, on to the next. Let me know when the next one comes along. And then at that point, we've established what information does Nate need. And they typically just text me, like it doesn't need to be this big formal submission. It's just address, purchase price, where you think the DSCR numbers are going to land if it's a 30-year, or where are the rehab numbers.
Yeah, after those first few conversations, like, I mean, that's the trick is like those first few, please call me. Let me like really get into this with you. I'll provide you that education and you're now better walking through that house and seeing what you're getting into. Like you've got an extension of me in your pocket basically, and you can go do that. And then you come back and okay, maybe you need to download that back to me and great, that's fine. But it gets less and less, which is not necessarily something we're specifically aiming for, but now you have that information in your pocket and you can go be dangerous on your own, which is great. And then it's just that text. Boom. Yep. Awesome. Rock and roll. And then that person also knows when something falls outside of those left and right lateral limits that we're starting to define over those early conversations with an investor. And they start saying, okay, everything in here, I'll just text Nate. Boom. And then something is either on that border or it may be crossing that border. Hey, Nate, there's something that like is maybe beyond that. Can you give me a call? Let's review this together. It's before they're under contract that
Right.
they've committed earnest money.
Yeah.
You know, like that's FYI, that's the right time is before that.
I think the people that I have the most conversations with are, you mentioned experienced investors that are, also surprised sometimes by like what's available. It's new investors generally, or experienced investors who've been using their own cash or a local bank for a long time, and so folks who just haven't had a chance to engage in the private lending space, and so even those, so the uh, oftentimes your all cash investors are purchasing the properties that might not be as attractive for financing. But when they're like, well, I'm ready to start using financing, it's like, okay, we might be able to upgrade the type of property that you're getting into, on day one.
Or they're like, hey, like I've got enough in this town and I'm moving on to this town, which is a totally different thing. Frankly, that's a good diversification strategy within the single asset of real estate ownership. Hey, I'm going to buy cash flowing assets, for instance, in Memphis, Tennessee, right? That's one strategy. I'm doing those. That has, some financing gotchas in there that you would help navigate. And then they say, okay, I've got that. I'm going to aim for an appreciating market. Like I just think a few years ago, Nashville, even the same state, or Charlotte, like one of those. And you say, okay, that's fine. Here's some other things you need to consider there. And a lot of things are similar, but it's like it's just a different approach. And having somebody that can cross those state lines and have a viewpoint in there can be really helpful as you get into that because those implications, those little bit of gotchas, because there's gotchas everywhere. There's no perfect deal. There's a little bit of a gotcha there, even if it's small, that having that conversation ahead of time and just defining the box, right? Hey, if you're playing in here, you're going to be safe. So go. Certainly ask any questions, even if it's in the box. But certainly, if you start getting close to the edges of the box or definitely outside, make the call. We're here to help. Like you have that trusted partner,
And I'm always,
keep you out of trouble.
yeah, I'm on end. I am always sure to give, good left and right limits. And that's after talking about experience, current credit score, liquidity that we've got available. The thing that I always say is, what do we have available for down payment and closing costs, or down payment, closing costs, and getting your rehab started if it's a rehab loan?
Sure.
Just so that way then I can advise like, hey, after close to 800 deals that I've done in the last 4 years, here's where I kind of see you fitting as far as the available liquidity. And
And do you still feel that there are people that are afraid to answer that question? I don't want to tell you, like it's something or something. Like if I tell you a frankly a made up number, somehow you're magically gonna have access to my bank accounts and take my money or something.
I think it's less about, yes. The short answer is yes. I think it's usually because they want to, if they're trying to keep things tight and, you know, spend or use as little of their own cash upfront as they can, they think if they tell me they have more, then I'm not going to present them with a 10% down payment option. I'm only going to give them a 20 or 30%
Because they got the money.
It's like,
You
well,
can afford it.
I don't even, I'm not getting more, like, so, yeah, no, that does happen from time to time. Every once in a while somebody says, enough. I've got enough. I'm like,
It's just it's not helpful.
I need your help in helping me define what enough is to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I know like from those early on conversations, these people that should be seeking out some clarity, some direction, some left and right lateral limits, like what is that? And I know that that's one that comes up as a secret sometimes. And it's not like if they know they met Nate magically has access to go get it. It's probably more of, well, if I tell you how much I have, you'll then just find a way to make the loan where I have to put all of my money down. And that's FYI, simply not in our shop's thought process. I guess it could be someone else's thought process. Although
it's ran out.
frankly, I would find even that hard to believe. Um, 'Cause what a good trusted partner that you're talking to on the finance side is just looking at like liquidity can solve problems as far as just showing it on paper. And it's nice to know, do you have it or not? Because even if you don't, it's like, okay, noted. I need to account for not having that from even just showing it on paper.
Yeah.
Because they're like, let's say I'm going to pursue that 10% down no matter what. But there are some that want to see X% beyond that. And there are some that want to see none beyond that. Well, then Nate, why don't you always pursue the one that sees none beyond that? Well, I mean,
that might be a 12% rate, and if you can show more liquidity, I could get you a 9 or 10% rate on your interest only.
so maybe, maybe not. Like, and that's the thing is like it takes away your ability to help them. So hopefully, like somebody hears that. It's like telling that number doesn't doesn't dictate much.
And we're sitting on their side of the transaction too. Like super important.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell the lender that, I guess conceptually they could be like, well, I know you can afford it, and I've got you locked in this transaction. I can hook you that way a little bit more. I mean, I guess I could kind of see that. Because I mean, frankly, a lender technically does not sit on your side of the table. Well, it's silly. There's not technically a table. But figuratively, they don't sit on your side of the table, whereas I know, like we do, and we work for the borrower. So maybe there's a little bit of difference there, but you have that little bit of trust and confidence that you can have with us, a broker, to be able to navigate that with you.
Yeah.
So good.
What I mean, you're kind of talking about like the things that are like hesitation points, like sharing liquidity. But I was just kind of curious, like even a bigger question is like, why do you think people hesitate? I mean, sometimes there's just a deal that comes up and they're not thinking about it, and then it's like, go, and they couldn't have thought forward to like have the conversation. But like, why do you think someone in an investor seat is hesitant to have these conversations until they have a property, a game plan, all of the things spelled out? Like, what is that?
They want to. My interpretation is that they want to sound as if they've got all their ducks in a row. It's like they've got it all together. They want to be taken seriously when they go and talk to, as Greg often says, the big financing guy and the ivory tower. Yeah, which
Yeah, but I mean, I think that makes sense. Like, if I were to get a loan, it's submittable to one of our lending partners. Like, yeah, I do want to have it all ironed out. But with us,
But
that's
there's an
the
expectation.
relationship,
There's an
right?
expectation that we are professionals, though.
Yeah.
And from the real estate investor side, I mean, you are a professional if you're playing by nature, but that doesn't mean that you have to have it figured out. Like, it's our job to help you figure it out and put it together in a professional manner. So I do recall when I was working deals individually, it's like those people that I just didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I presume that you don't know what you're doing to some extent, right? Some people have it put together a little bit more, some people a little bit less, but there's something everywhere, all the way to the most experienced person that they don't have at least this thing put together. And that's a spectrum, and it's all the same, basically, as far as like we're really concerned. And from the lending perspective, just call, like it's fine. And I know some of those conversations, you have the early conversations like, hey, you don't have the liquidity. We'll let you know that. Here, like if you're gonna play in this world, you're gonna need to get to here. Like, let's put you in the right direction. Call me when you're at this point. That way you're not feeling like, well, do I need to be talking to this person all the time? No, it in that scenario, it may be a waste of time. And we'll let you know that too. It's like, hey, go focus somewhere else. Okay, that's a perfectly reasonable call to have too. We don't want to waste your time either. And we can typically tease that out pretty quickly. It's like, oh, you're this far away. Let's define that point you in the right direction. We'll follow up, like, and you just holler at us when you've met this milestone, and then you're ready to rock and roll, and magically those people get properties under contract. Like, that's how that works. So, yep,
You just don't want to look like you have a deficit or anything. And it's like,
for
but
sure.
again, like you said, is like we're gonna be professional, but we're not gonna take that and be like, well, you don't deserve a loan because you don't know everything. It's like, well, that's what we're
Jimmy don't want it.
like, and even if you are experienced, like you may not know what I know from last week of another property that was in that same market, like what happened with the financing. And so I think again, it's maybe just ducks in a row and
Yeah, I mean,
figure it out.
I'll use one example, and then maybe we can tie this episode up. But I mean, if somebody was like, okay, I live in the Northeast, I want to invest somewhere close there. I think Baltimore is really hopping, and like I'm gonna invest in Baltimore, and I know that I need 20% down, and because that's what DSCR loans do.
Yep.
And I know that properties in Baltimore cash flow really well.
So I plug all this in the chat.
And it all, ChatGPT told me, I had an amazing plan and everything was perfect, and gave me a couple suggestions. So then you are like, all right, hey, I made an offer on a house. While I'm waiting to hear back, I'm gonna, go talk to a financing person, talk to loan bids, and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, did you hear about the appraisal, value scam that happened over the last couple of years in the Baltimore area? Now all lenders have haircut the, leverage they're willing to give. It was 20%. It still is for all DSCR programs, but in Baltimore specifically, they are either not lending there at all, or maybe giving a 5 or 10% haircut. So in this particular scenario, Mr. Borrower, once you get this property under contract that you've already made an offer on, um, it's going to be 25, maybe 30% down. And they go, "Ugh." It's like, you had everything right, but this very specific thing changed the game. And
And that person, yeah, they're not a big dummy.
no,
You
in
can't
fact, they're really
necessarily-
smart and probably did a great job of trying to get everything squared away.
And just having that, again, that gets solved by having somebody that you have talked to before, that is going to pick up the phone when you call. You're actively looking for deals,
Yeah.
and we want to help you get under contract because that's going to help you get your next property, and we want it to go successfully for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not going to give advice to have you not get deals, but we can give you that advice to say, hey, like, you're going to need to account for all of these things that frankly you couldn't have. And maybe that person's like, okay, cool, check, I can totally tolerate all of those things. But maybe they say either I don't have that money now, or I don't want to buy this property because to them, cash on cash return is the most important metric, which is fine. And now that totally changed your cash on cash return metric, and those deals, at least right now, don't make sense for you, and we need to go look somewhere else.
Probably the most common thing is we talk about $150,000 or $200,000 houses. And I'm like, hey, you're going to be at like a 6.5 with your credit score and everything. Where are you at on liquidity? And they, let me know what that looks like. And I go, okay, well, we should probably actually either save up longer or maybe look at houses around 100K.
Yeah.
And so that loan amount, what they don't know is that the rate changes when, your loan amount changes. And so, hey, we were talking about 6.5. Perfect. I got a deal. It's a $75,000 purchase, and it pencils at 6.5.
Yeah.
On my rate. Okay. Well, your rate is 7.25 because or 7 or whatever, because the loan amount is lower. Therefore, the lenders charge a slightly higher rate premium for that. But we never talked about it necessarily.
Sure.
And so it's like, you were basing, this particular deal, which was
A lot of nuance here.
very different,
And yeah, again, going back to Baltimore, like that one, it's like basically everything was the same. It's one variable, and again, having that person that you're like, I've had good quality conversations with this person. Nate's a super nice guy, or whoever else in our office, because we're the only people you want to talk to. Right? They're like, hey, call our office. They're going to be genuinely nice, because that's one of our core values. Like, just be genuinely nice, like, to these human beings. They're just like you and me. But just having that person that you're like, I know that I'm going to call, and they're going to be a nice person to me, and just bring their level of expertise to this, and like we're gonna figure it out together, versus having the hesitation of calling the big scary loan guy that's in the ivory tower, that's Scrooge McDuck on their millions of dollars. That I'm scared to call this person. It's like, it's not us. Like, you got jeans on. I got
Make that in
I got my dusty pants. It's like
I'm just wiping my tears with all my $100.
yes, that's what we do here. In jeans and my dusty pants.
Yeah.
From trying to clean up a rental property. It's nice to have that person. That's the betting you want to do up front. Is like, do I feel confident to call this person?
Yeah.
Versus, it's kind of funny. We had one of the guys on the floor. He actually did too good a job at this, and this person was calling him so much, and he was just following up, checking in this person, like, hey, how's it going? I think they had something in their family come up, and he was checking, like, hey, how's your kid doing or something, which is like good to do. Again, genuinely nice. And this person's like, yeah, I'm under contract on another one, and we're like halfway through the loan process. He's like, well, hey, what's up with that? We've talked about a lot of deals. She's like, oh, you were just so nice, like I didn't want to continue to bother you. And it was just like, oh no, like, you misinterpreted that as
So, and it's like
the friend zone. Yeah, it's just funny.
I've never been friend zoned in that way.
Yeah, it was silly, but I'm like,
you're too much of a friend. I can't do business with you.
yeah, but
Totally ruined
I told him, I was like, hey, I think that's you being on the right path, and I
For sure.
show him that you can get down to business.
Doing the right thing. That's a really funny, misinterpretation on somebody else's behalf. But you know what? They'll do the next.
That's like
We're
the
just friends now.
that's like the opposite, because realistically, like I look at that as like totally positive. Like, they had that confidence to just call in, and they were getting that expert advice. Maybe misread that a little bit, like, do a deal together, right? That person that's giving you that time.
Yeah.
But it's because everybody's bringing value, even if you don't have it figured out. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Well,
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Kind of
It's gonna be cool.
I'm super excited.
Gotta be first.
What?
Just the night.
And the pool.
It's gonna be the pool.
We're gonna be a pool guy. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you got to learn a lot about greenhouses and pools.
Well, he did run pools at what college? We owned a pool, so
We don't have a pool. It's nice. Oh yeah, super fun. Well, that's awesome. Let's wrap it up.
Cool.
Catch you guys next time.
Thanks, Garrett.
Thanks for listening to The Deal Vault. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share with another investor, and leave us a review. If you're looking for help funding your next deal, you can always holler at us at loanbids.com. We'd love to help you on that deal. Until next time, keep building, keep investing.